best day of my life.
So much composure.
Yeah, well, maybe on the outside.
Yeah.
I don't even know that. Are you gonna start? Are we ready?
Thank you all so much for being here. I know you can feel the excitement in this room. We can hardly contain ourselves. Finally, the Supreme Court has ruled in our favor. We could not be more excited. It was unanimous. I have to say that I had lost faith in our judicial system, but it has been restored today. People do have the power. Here we are, Arkansas Take Action, the grassroots organization, Damien's wife Lori. Thanks to all of you tireless, relentless journalists, to the documentary filmmakers, to supporters all over the world. It's because each of one of you has spoken out and not stopped that we are where we are today. Thank you for coming. We're so excited. Take questions. Lori has some comments. Everybody's seen the 16-page ruling. We're ecstatic that it's unanimous. We're also very pleased that this does not just address Damien Echols, but has major implications for Jason Baldwin and Jesse Misskelley, and for every falsely accused and incarcerated person in the Arkansas prison system. This is huge for Arkansas. We finally have done the right thing. So we can take questions. Lori wants to speak. Just fire away.
Lori, tell us where you were when you heard and what your reaction was.
Well, I was sitting in front of my computer because every Thursday that's where you'll find me. So I was waiting to hear, and I got word. I saw the ruling, and I'm still stunned. I was stunned, but happy, and a huge relief, as you can probably understand. So it's still, it's been, for me, 14 years of my life working through this, and for Damien, Jason, and Jesse, it's been 17, almost 18 years. So it's a lot to take in one month.
You've been through so many ups and downs, primarily downs over these 17 years. I mean, how would you put today into perspective as far as what this really means and how big it is to the case?
It's the culmination of all of this work. I don't have the words for it because it's so huge and so finally it's just the success of the work of everyone, as Kathy just says. It's the work of the legal team, it's the work of the community, it's the work of the journalists, it's the work of all the supporters from around the world. It's so huge, and it's so gratifying to finally be in this situation because, as Kathy says, I am so grateful to the Arkansas Supreme Court for their work on this and for seeing the truth and for being so dedicated to the law.
Have you spoken to Damien?
Yes, I have.
What was that conversation like?
Well, I mean, he's a very, Damien's just very, he's so happy, he's ecstatic, he's hopeful, and we both feel, the interesting thing is I told him, well, this is the beginning, and he said, no, quite frankly, Lori, this is the end. and it's right, it is, yeah. The beginning was, 18 years ago, so.
I think it's important, all of you all were at the oral arguments, or most of you were, and the resounding thing was about the evidence. Do you exclude part of the evidence? In this state, all of the evidence should be presented and heard. All means all. And the AG's office tried to restrict this, and they failed. And that is a victory for us and for any falsely accused person.
If I don't make any other, if the most important statement that I want to make today is, while we are more than prepared to go into an evidentiary hearing in the circuit court, Damien's team we don't believe the people of Arkansas are going to be satisfied until there is a new trial for these 3 men. And what we're hoping to do is to go into good faith discussion with the Attorney General and the prosecuting attorney of the 2nd District to reach some kind of agreement so that they will join a petition with us to go into a new trial. Because an evidentiary hearing is going to cost the state of Arkansas a substantial amount of funding. And to have that step when we're going to get a new trial anyway, it's absolutely the case. We will. So let's just move this along, and we're hoping the Attorney General will have this discussion with us. We look forward to it.
Have you had any discussions? I mean, you're just announcing this now. Has there been any preliminary reaching out to see if that's even possible?
Well, this is the first invitation to him, so.
He's officially invited.
We'd love to talk to him.
Why are you so confident that you get a new trial?
Because we have all of the evidence to prove their innocence. We have new DNA evidence that excludes them from the crime scene or any association with the crime. We have new forensic evidence that completely dispels the state's case that it was a satanic ritualistic killing, which is frankly absurd, because they claim there were knife wounds on the bodies, and after scores of forensic pathologists, leading forensic pathologists around the country, found absolutely no marks on the children. It was post-mortem animal predation. And the fact that the jury foreman, we have found out, was in discussions with an attorney during the trial. He didn't believe there was enough evidence to convict the 3 teenagers at the time, and brought in evidence that was not, it was not allowed in Damien and Jason's case. I mean, it's jury misconduct on a grand scale. So that in itself is enough to overturn the case.
We also have witnesses that have come forward.
Right.
Speak to the new ones.
Yeah, we have new witnesses that have come forward as well. When Terry Hobbs was involved in his lawsuit against Natalie Maines, Natalie Pazder, he made statements that he had not seen the victims of the case that evening, and after he made those statements, we have witnesses that specifically remember him with the victims just before they were called in as missing. So we have all kinds of new evidence that has come forward in the last 17 years, particularly the last 3 years, and in those last 3 years, just the whole public sentiment has changed completely in this state. The faith community is involved now. Community leaders are questioning for the first time, even publicly for some of them. So the momentum's on our side here, and we're just grateful that the Supreme Court has ruled this way.
The order makes pretty clear that Judge Burnett cannot, now that he's an elected official, preside over this. So what does that mean? If it is an evidentiary hearing or a new trial, where will it be, and who will be the judge? Do you know at this point?
I don't know who the judge will be, but I think it will be in Jonesboro.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
It'll be one of the circuit court judges.
Right.
How do you feel about that Judge Burnett's now in the picture?
Yeehaw! Sorry!
Says it all. Yeah.
We think we'll get a lot more biased opinion this time, a lot better look at what we're presenting. Another point of the new evidence that we didn't mention was the false confession that came from Jesse Miskelly. Lori alluded to it when she referred to the jury misconduct. That was the piece of evidence that was brought into play in the jury deliberations, and which was not admitted because it's a violation of Sixth Amendment rights for Jason and Damien to be able to confront their accuser on the witness stand. And he recanted immediately after he made the confession, and we have experts who are ready to take the stand, break that confession apart, and show that all of the important information that was no matter how loosely connected to the crime scene was totally provided by the police themselves to Jesse, who was borderline mentally handicapped.
So how quickly now will this move?
Well, in the order it does say they want an expedited hearing, so we're hoping, within, weeks, months, get it moving.
And so in your conversation with Damien, I mean, obviously he was very happy. Did he look at this is the key to his case? I mean, getting...
Oh, absolutely. It's what we've been fighting for. a new trial is what we've been fighting for all these years, because he knows when he goes into a courtroom this time that he will prove his innocence. So, it will prove the innocence of Jason and Jesse.
And we do really want the people of Arkansas to get a closer look at everything that's involved in this case, all the new evidence, and not just have it overturned, thrown out because of the jury misconduct. I'm under the assumption that that could happen, but we want all the truth to come to light in this case to show that they are truly innocent, so there's no question left in people's mind. We've seen it swing. We saw your polls on the news coverage of how after the last oral arguments in the Supreme Court that it went from about 40-60 to 60-40 approximately, depending on the news station, in our favor. And I think that says a lot, and it's going to, there's going to be no question in everyone's mind as soon as we get a chance to present all this.
Well, and something I also want to say is, if there's anyone out there who has knowledge about this case and has been fearful about coming forward, you now have the Supreme Court's backing that this needs to be heard, and evidence that wasn't even brought into the original trial can now be brought into this hearing. So I want to encourage anyone to come forward who knows something, who's been afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of at this point, and all the evidence should come out. So, contact me, contact our attorneys. There's a tip line that you can call. It's on our website, freewestmemphis3.org, and it's right behind us. So I just want to encourage anyone who knows something, even if you don't think important, it really could be. So we're getting ready to go into a new hearing, possibly a new trial, and we need all the information that's out there.
What do you think really happened to the boys?
I think everyone has, theories about what happened. I would like to see the state start an investigation so that we can really learn who, not have theories, but get solid evidence about what happened to those children. Because that, after we free the people who are in prison, then we need to get the person who really committed this crime. We need to get that person in prison. So let's just hope the state will open up an investigation and find out.
And Laurie's husband, Damien's always said that he doesn't want to point fingers, and we don't either, because that's what happened to him in the original trials. He was practically convicted. Essentially, he was convicted before the trial even started, by public opinion.
Is this a hearing where Damien, Jason, and Jesse will be present at?
Yes.
There? All three?
Yes.
It will be all together?
Yes.
They all have not been together.
No.
They haven't been.
I mean, I'm assuming it. I shouldn't say, but I would think that would be what the court would want instead of doing. I mean, it just makes sense since they're all three handled in this one.
Let's assume you and the state reach a deal to skip the evidentiary hearing and go to a new trial. Any concern about being able to even find a jury that could, in that area, frankly, anywhere that could sit and say, handle the evidence?
I'll speak to that. I don't think that any reasonable jury anywhere, whether it's Jonesboro or Little Rock, would look at the evidence and find that these three young men committed this crime. It's just impossible. We have so much evidence.
Well, and to that point, like you say, a trial is not a venue to prove innocence. It's the job of the state to prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. I mean, do you think if certain facts are stipulated to between all the parties, that there's a possibility that they would just drop the charges altogether?
I think there's a strong possibility of that.
They would have a hard time proving this case in a hearing at this point.
So you're thinking if people stipulate certain facts, evidence-wise, that there's a possibility that they could just be released without trial?
There's a possibility of that, yes.
With all this new evidence that's come out over the years, has any of the original jury members reached out to you guys to let you guys know what they were thinking? Or to comment on any of this new evidence that has come out?
Well, we did discuss, when we were doing the work on the jury misconduct, there was a jury member who had her original notes from the trial, and that's how we learned that they had brought the confession into the deliberation room. So yes, and I believe she gave us an affidavit, so yes, we've talked with her. Is that it?
Thanks for coming.
We need to hand these out.
Right.
Statements from the attorneys.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, everyone, for coming and for your continued interest.
Thank you.